Luke, chapter 23. And having risen, the whole multitude of them led him to Pilate, and began to accuse him, saying, We found this one perverting the nation, and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying himself to be Christ, a king. And Pilate questioned him, saying, You are king of the Jews? And he, answering him, said, You say it. And Pilate said to the chief priests and to the multitude, I find no fault in this man. And they were the more urgent, saying, He stirs up the people, teaching throughout the whole of Judea, having begun from Galilee to this place. And Pilate, having heard of Galilee, questioned if the man is a Galilean. And having known that he is from the jurisdiction of Herod, he sent him back to Herod, he also being in Jerusalem in those days. And Herod rejoiced exceedingly, having seen Jesus, for he was wishing to see him for a long time, because of hearing many things about him. And he was hoping to see some sign done by him, and was questioning him in many words. And he answered him nothing. And the chief priests and the scribes stood vehemently accusing him. And Herod, with his soldiers, having set him at nothing, and having mocked, having cast radiant apparel around him, sent him back to Pilate. And both Pilate and Herod became friends with one another on that day, for they were previously at enmity between themselves. And Pilate, having called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, said to them, You brought this man to me as perverting the people. And behold, I have examined him before you, found no fault in this man in those things you bring forward against him. No, neither Herod, for he sent him back to us. And behold, nothing worthy of death is having been done by him. Having corrected, therefore, I will release him, for it was necessary for him to release to them one at every celebration. And they cried out, the whole multitude, saying, Away with this one, and release Barabbas to us, who had been cast into prison because of a certain sedition made in the city, and murder. Pilate again then, wishing to release Jesus, called to them. But they were calling out, saying, Crucify, crucify him. And he said to them a third time, Why, what evil did he do? I found no cause of death in him. Having corrected him then, I will release him. And they were pressing with loud voices, asking him to be crucified, and their voices and those of the chief priests were prevailing. And Pilate gave judgment for their request being done, and he released him who, because of sedition and murder, has been cast into prison, whom they were asking for, and he gave up Jesus to their will. And as they led him away, having taken hold on Simon, a certain Cyrenian, coming from the field, they put the cross on him to carry it behind Jesus. And a great multitude of the people were following him, and of women, who also were beating themselves and lamenting him. And Jesus, having turned to them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, days come in which they will say, Blessed the barren, and wombs that did not bear, and breasts that did not give suck. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, Cover us. For if they do these things in the green tree, what may happen in the dry? And there were also others, 2 evildoers with him, to be put to death. And when they came to the place that is called Place of the Skull, there they crucified him and the evildoers, one on the right and one on the left. And Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they have not known what they do. And parting his garments, they cast a lot. And the people were standing, looking on, and the rulers were also sneering with them, saying, He saved others, let him save himself, if this be the Christ, the chosen one of God. And the soldiers were also mocking him, coming near and offering vinegar to him, and saying, If you are king of the Jews, save yourself. And there was also an inscription written over him, in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew, This is the King of the Jews. And one of the evildoers who were hanged was slandering him, saying, If you are the Christ, save yourself and us." And the other answering was rebuking him, saying, "Do you not even fear God, that you are in the same judgment? And we indeed justly, for we are receiving back things worthy of what we did. But this one did nothing out of place." And he said to Jesus, "Remember me, Lord, when you may come in your kingdom." And Jesus said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." And it was, as it were, the 6th hour, and darkness came over all the land until the 9th hour, and the sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was torn in the middle. And having cried with a loud voice, Jesus said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Now having said this, he breathed his last. And the centurion, having seen what was done, glorified God, saying, "Truly, this man was righteous." And all the multitudes having come together to this sight, beholding the things that came to pass, turned back, striking their breasts. And all his acquaintances stood far off, and women who followed him from Galilee, beholding these things. And behold, a man by the name Joseph, being a counselor, a man good and righteous, from Arimathea, a city of the Jews, who also himself was expecting the kingdom of God, he was not consenting to their counsel indeed. He, having gone near to Pilate, asked for the body of Jesus. And having taken it down, he wrapped it in fine linen, and placed it in a hewn-out tomb, where no one was yet laid. And it was the day of preparation, and the Sabbath was approaching. And the women, who also have come with him out of Galilee, having followed after, beheld the tomb, and how his body was placed. And having turned back, they made ready spices and ointments. And on the Sabbath indeed they rested, according to the command.